purpose of this video is to talk about how to use Excel to find some descriptive statistics, such as mean, range, and standard deviation. So I already have my heading information typed in here at the top. I already have the problem number, number 18, typed in cell A5, and I've made it bold. And then I've typed in all of the data from number 18 in cells A6 through A36. So that puts me down to step number 7 in the directions, which says to sort the data from smallest to largest. We're first going to highlight the cells. So I'm going to click in cell A6, hold the left button down, and drag down to cell A36, and then release the mouse button. And then we want to click on the data menu at the top of the page, so about halfway over. And then we're looking for the sort smallest to largest option, which is this button right here that has the A and Z with a down arrow. So you just click on that, and then you'll notice that it puts all of your data values in order from smallest to largest. So then step 8 says in cell A37, so right here, we want to calculate the mean by typing the formula equals average, that's your command in Excel for mean, and then parentheses where our data starts, which is cell A6, colon where our data ends, which is A36. Close parentheses and hit enter. And there it inserts the mean for you in cell A37. And then I'm going to go over to the right of that in cell B37 and type the word mean to label it. And then in cell A38, so right here, we want to calculate the range by finding the difference between the value that's in A36 and the value that's in A6. So to do that, we're going to use the formula equals A36 minus A6 and hit enter. And that gives us a range of 140. And then again, I'm going to come off to the right of that in cell B38 and type the word range to label it. And then in step 10, it says in cell A39, right here, we're going to calculate the standard deviation by typing in the formula equals STDEVP, and then again our range of cells, so parentheses A6 colon A36, close parentheses, and hit equals. And then this one in cell B39, I'm going to label as the standard deviation. Now, one thing to be careful about when you're using that formula, it talks about this in step 10 in your instructions. So the STDEVP, the formula that has the P in it, that is specifically for standard deviation of a population, which number 18 in our textbook told us that we were working with a population of data here. But if the problem would say that you're only working with a sample of data, then you would drop the P from that formula, and you would just use the formula STDEV and then your range of cells. So you just need to be careful about whether you're working with a population, data from a population, or data from a sample, and make sure that you're using the right command in Excel. Because remember, we talked about how the formula for calculating standard deviation is slightly different depending on whether you're working with a population or a sample. So you want to make sure that you're using the right one in Excel. So now we're ready for step 11, which says to change the format of cells A37 to A39. So these 3 cells where I have my statistics, I'm going to right click on those, highlight them and right click, and then format cells, and click on number and change it so that they all just have 1 decimal place, and then click OK. And then I'm going to make those 3 numbers as well as my labels to the right of them. So I'm going to highlight all 6 of those cells and then make them bold. So I'm going to go back to the home menu and click on the B at the top. And then step 13 says to change the width of column B to accommodate the width of your labels. So I'm going to right click on column B, click on column width, and it's set on 8 right now, so let's try 16 and see if that's big enough. Not quite. My standard deviation still doesn't quite fit in there. So let's go ahead and make it 20 instead. That should be big enough. So then once you get down to step 15, it's going to tell you to come over here to cell D5, and we're going to start number 24. So I'm going to type 24 in there and then make that cell bold. And then starting in cell D6, I will start typing in the data that's given to me in number 24. And the thing to be careful about on this one is it does tell you in part A of that problem that this data comes from a sample instead of a population. So that means whenever you get down to the bottom of your data and you go to calculate the standard deviation, you want to make sure that you use the STDEV formula to calculate that instead of the STDEVP formula.